Alright, so I'm currently trying to platinum every single type of EA game that there is out there, and if I can't do it before the channel hits 1 million subscribers, then my punishment is I have to platinum Fortnite, one of the longest, hardest, and most grindy games of all time. So make sure to drop a like and subscribe. Alright, so in today's video, I got the platinum trophy on Battlefield 2042, the highly regarded worst battlefield of the series, the newest battlefield, and also the most painful gaming experience I've ever endured in my lifetime. But seeing as I have platinumed every single other battlefield there is, and the new Battlefield 6 trailer just dropped a few days ago, I thought, hey, why not? What better time than now to platinum this absolute steaming pile of dog crap that is Battlefield 2042. And everyone knows the game is buns. I mean, it's one of the lowest rated games with so many reviews on the PlayStation Store by loyal gamers. But besides the game just being awful, the trophies and the platinum grind is even worse. I don't know about you, but just upon looking at this guide, it screams, hey kid, don't even dare. Just walk away. Walk away slowly. Actually run. Just get out of here. However, I am Daddy Its Illusion, and it must be done. Totaling up 35 trophies, including the platinum trophy, taking an estimated 120 hours. At least 42 games also must be played, but that's actually going to be more in the hundreds, and a 5 out of 10 of difficulty, which should definitely be higher, but whatever, this game still sucks. Oh yeah, there's also 13 grind trophies and 13 buggy trophies, with them basically all crossing over. Fun fact, a combo of grind and buggy is the worst combo on a trophy if you aren't aware, because that means you have to just keep on grinding after hitting the marker, and yeah, it's just great. So starting off this game today, I did have one trophy from more than 2 years ago named Adapt and Overcome. Just got them by reaching player level 5, meaning we are pretty much starting from scratch. And the first real goal of the game is to just go after any easy trophies. The whole stages part of the trophy guide does not matter all that much, considering you can realistically tackle the game any way you choose, and it's going to suck balls no matter how you approach it. But I did have some assistance off the rip from a bunch of my friends on Discord, and we made a group chat for this game's boosting to give tips to each other and organize playtimes, because Hazard Zone doesn't need teamwork to win it, but it greatly does help it. And we called the group chat ItsIlusion's baby daddy, by the way, so shout out to ItsIlusion's baby daddy on God. Anyways, a bunch of dudes named Dusty, Goose, Swerve, and Molar all gave me tips off the start on how to get some easy and even annoying trophies, so we just farmed those out in private lobbies and into the Conquest co-op mode. The first trophy I did farm out was by calling in 15 loadouts with an operator named Angel. He's the munitions guy of this game that can resupply people. You can also call in a loadout like every few seconds to refill ammo, so this isn't very challenging whatsoever. I then just played out the rest of the match we were in, trying to get some other trophies from healing, which was super buggy, and I failed to do that. I was also beginning the T1 weapon grind without even knowing it, because I had been using an LMG on enemies, and this would come to haunt me later, considering LMGs in this game are not the best gun to use by any means. But once that match did finish, we obviously placed first as a squad, considering in co-op lobbies of this game you go up against bots, and bots in this game, especially on the beginner difficulty, aren't a problem at all. But on a later match with the boys, I got a trophy called a bird ? A plane ? And this one could be done in a real game, however you would have a hard time doing so, because it requires you to wingsuit fly from the rocket hangar to the launch pad on the orbital map, leaving yourself very vulnerable to penetration if you catch my drift. But doing this trophy is actually very straightforward, and you just glide all the way there. It also pops very early before even reaching the launch pad completely, so that's a W. I then ran into my first trophy of the game that would give me honestly a lot of trouble. It's called Dr. Falk in the House, and it's from healing 3,000 points of damage within a single round with Falk's syringe pistol. This syringe pistol is just a healing gun that can heal allies who are damaged around us. So we just played another co-op conquest mode, and for the entire round, which lasted about 40 to 60 minutes, I was just running around like a low chromosomal individual, healing any and all who were injured. It took absolutely forever to finish the games in general, but it felt even longer doing this the entire time due to how damn boring it was. I also did fail on my first attempt, missing the goal barely, which was funny at first because it was so close. However, on the next full run, I did make sure to grind it out even more like a madman, becoming the healing god in the levels of Jesus Christ in his prime. And I ended that match with a whopping, staggering, insulting 9,000 healing points done. Which, if you remember, the goal in the trophy was only for 3,000, so I did 3 times the required amount of healing and no trophy popped. This game is bullshit. Now, seeing this, I was genuinely just dumbfounded that already a trophy glitched. But having this happen so often to me when I do videos on these wonderful EA games, I just restarted the game, which usually fixes the issue, and upon loading into another match and healing a single person, I got the trophy. Makes absolutely no sense, EA, at all. And a few minutes after, while beginning to go after a trophy called Aerial Destroyer, I just got another random trophy called Foot Soldier from traveling 25 kilometers without using vehicles, so here is that. A very passively gotten trophy, by the way. way. Anyways, onto the aerial destroyer trophy. You need to destroy an air vehicle, obviously, but you must do it with a rocket launcher and also while parachuting. Almost impossible to do in a real game unless you're just nuts at this game and very lucky. But the method for this was to wait till the AI team started using helicopters because they go stationary a lot and aren't as hard to hit as jets, which whiz by at insane speeds. Also, make sure to use the Liz operator's remote controlled RPG so you can tweak its impact greatly. You also do have to hit the helicopter twice, I think, which is kind of BS, but hey, upon destroying it, the trophy actually pops, so at least it wasn't glitched again. In that same match, I also did a trophy called Doze This from performing 7 melee kills in one life with Dozer's ballistic shield, and it's surprisingly easy to get this, by the way, and here it is. But the following trophy I went after, called One Careful Owner, which was from getting a roadkill with an air vehicle, was not easy at all. I attempted it a few times and I had no success, actually negative success I think, and I only got it by sheer luck when my dumbass helicopter rolled over after already landing. Not sure how I did this or how that's even possible, and then it blew up. But thankfully an AI was just being a bot right besides us, and the trophy also did pop. I don't understand why this game exists, it's just trash. Moving on, the next trophy I chased after was called Dead in Their Tracks from getting a quad kill while defending an objective. Now a quad kill in this game counts as anytime you get 4 kills in a row while they appear in the kill feed top right, so it doesn't necessarily have to be a 4-piece, but that's the suggested way of getting it. So to ensure I got it and didn't just waste enemies, I waited around until a vehicle came on objective, and then I tried my best to blow it up with a rocket to get all the kills from the AI inside the vehicle. At first I kind of did butcher this because my rocket launcher I was using completely sucked at damaging vehicles, which is dumb, but once I did find the right one and managed to blow up an enemy vehicle on points, I got the quad defending kill and the trophy. I also managed to get outstanding performance, which means you were the top of the team in the round at the trophy as well. Anyways, moving on with the trophies. Also, I am sorry that all of these I did were in co-op lobbies. It's just the best way to get them because this game's trophy list is like half dumbass random things and then half horrible online grindy trophies. Really god-awful format, to be honest. But the next one I did was just from meleeing 20 enemies in one round. Very easy to do this in AI lobbies. Against real people, I think it's probably impossible, and I stand by that firmly. I also did 20 headshots in one round, best done with the sniper as well, because hitting headshots can be a bit odd when your gun's recoil, especially on the LMG, for example, is like you're getting railed from behind. Not that I would know anything about that, but I'm just saying. Oh my god! I then farmed kills while in vehicles, and this isn't in one match thankfully, so it's just all time. But after getting 50, or however many the game thinks was 50, you get the trophy, and I did right here. So that's basically it for the easy trophies of this game, and I then moved on to do one more trophy that wasn't from just grinding the game out, but it was called B-Gun's Drive, from inflicting 2,500 damage in one round while defending objectives using Boris's Sentry gun. And there was a portal made for this trophy because it's so impossible normally. Also a video guide on YouTube showing how to do it, but even with both of these, it was still quite confusing. However, I did get the trophy pop. And I don't even think my Sentry did that much damage, but you know what? I'm not going to complain. A trophy is a trophy, especially in this game. Now, as I said, that was my last real easy trophy, so me and the boys headed into real matches, playing pretty much anything that had players in it. Now, I started this grind on Friday night and into the weekend, making it a good time because people were on the game rather than in real life working and living for that matter. So we didn't really have issues with lobbies for the most part. Also, a limited time mode was out right now called Rush XL, which is like the most chaotic mode of the game, and people love it because it's just, you know, chaos, as I said. But the grind and multiplayer is both winning 42 matches, but also getting tier 1 with weapons, gadgets, vehicles, and specialists. Now, tier 1 is a sort of challenge, and everything in the game has been attributed to it, and I mean literally everything you can use has a T1 badge available, and there's also a different requirement for each of them as well. But these take forever to grind out, at least a 10-hour minimum for each of them, and that's if you know exactly what you're doing. But thankfully, while you do just grind them out, you can also just play the game to progress essentially everything at the same time. So it does suck, but it's more of a collective suck, you know, something your girlfriend be doing to her guy best friend. Anyways, I actually chose to go after the Specialist T1 first using Casper and his Recon drone, which can spot enemies around the map and has unlimited flight time. Now, spotting enemies progresses the goal of his T1 being to get 8,000 points. A single spot counts as 1 point, by the way. But after you do spot these enemies, any assists gotten, which just means your team kills them after you spot them, also does count as a point for you. And if you disable any other drones or equipment, that's another point, but I didn't really do that because it meant making yourself go lower towards the enemy team and exposing yourself to be killed. But if I'm being completely honest, this is probably the best method for specialists because you can get hundreds of spots and assists every single game if you just use the drone the entire time, and the game lasts for a long time. You literally just go up in the sky and fly around avoiding any bullets that may come your way, and you just look at people. Yup, that's it. Just looking at them counts as spotting. It's extremely goofy. But doing this got me top of my team numerous times because it's low-key a point and XP farming method. And I got to level 15 right here while grinding this out for that trophy pop. I also earned a ribbon, 3 of each type. And ribbons in this game are just gotten from getting kills, spotting enemies, or doing objectives. There is some different ones, but overall those are the basic ones. And this trophy is not hard to get at all, with me getting it on complete accident. No clue how that's a gold trophy, by the way. I've seen harder trophies in the Peppa Pig video game. But as I said, these T1 badges do take forever, and even with this being the best method, it took me hours to get it, ending up reaching level 25 an hour before I even got my first T1 badge. But level 25 is also a trophy and the final level trophy if you were wondering. Another hour more later of spotting enemies, and I finally did get that T1 mastery badge with any specialist and the trophy pop from it, leaving us with 1 of 4 completed in that matter. Please, Lord, send us the strength to continue. So I got that trophy at like 10 a.m. or something like that, and for the rest of the day I then began to grind out the next T1 mastery badge, being from the gadgets or throwables. And in my personal opinion, the best gadget to do this with is the smoke grenades, because every time you throw one you get a point, and if anybody gets healed, revived, or killed inside of or near your smoke grenade, it also counts as various points. And finally, you only need to hit 4,000 points total for this trophy. So the method for this was to basically just spam smoke grenades over and over and over and over. Yes, I am now that kind of Battlefield 2042 player. And I'm gonna be real, this was some of the most bland gameplay ever, to the point where I legitimately felt bad for the lobby I was in because it just smokes constantly with no real reasoning besides spam. But I ended up actually getting 50 resupplies on my teammates for a trophy, because with the smoke grenade spam, it's advised to use this operator that can resupply himself for more smoke grenades in one life. And every time I would place one down, it usually would resupply teammates, but once I did resupply 50, like I said, I got the trophy. I also did revive 100 people as well while doing this because I thought it counted for my smoke progression. I'm not sure if it did, but even if it did, it wasn't a big difference. And then I legitimately just sat in my room for 6 hours straight throwing smoke grenades over and over and over. My brain, I'm pretty sure, has also began to melt away. They should honestly do a study on it after I die, because it's coming soon with this bullshit torturing me every single day of my life. And I'm just gonna say it, I wish I didn't win the race. Yes, this is my daily ask for you to follow me on Instagram so I look cool. Plug, by the way. Shut up, bitch! But yep, anyways, after 6 hours, I reached 4,000 points for the smoke grenade, and tier 1 with the gadget mastery popped right here. But then I just kind of kept on playing these modes. I was sort of going after T1 mastery with my weapon, which was this dog-ass horrid base LMG that you get when starting. Mistakes were made when picking that thing, I'm not gonna lie. And spoiler alert, that would also end up being my final trophy of the game, by the way, just to show some more depth as to how bad the gun actually is. But while I was just playing more Conquest, I did get 2 more trophies. One from killing 500 enemies in general while not in a vehicle, which is just 500 normal kills. And then another one from traveling 15 kilometers while using vehicles. But the next T1 mastery I did actually go for was called Wheeled Warrior, from getting T1 mastery with a vehicle. And this is by far the worst out of any of the masteries, because using a vehicle to the mastery point is insanely large amounts of grinding to get it there. And most people, when they play Battlefield 2042, don't just sit in vehicles for the entire match, let alone is that even possible to do, because vehicles have massive cooldowns after you do die in them. So me and the boys went to this portal map which just had empty lobbies with objectives to capture, and we all used this vehicle called the Pond Hawk, which is this absolutely horrid flying bike thing, or hovering bike, whatever, dude, it's dog shit. The thing can barely fly to begin with, and it crashes easier than it is for me to have another failed relationship with a female. Oh my god! But we all chose to use this because it has the lowest amount of points needed for the mastery, being at just 800. I also don't believe the trophy guide even has the vehicle listed in the list of them, because of how random the vehicle actually is. But the method was to just have pairs of 2. You don't actually need 2 people, but if you do have 2 players in the vehicle, it counts for both of them. Then just fly back and forth between objectives, capturing and recapturing them. This also got me 100 captures in Conquest for that trophy, but doing this cycle gets you 2 points every capture, and you just do it over and over and over and over. We spent a straight 7 hours doing this, swapping drivers whenever someone had to do something, and it was awful. I mean, come on, this is some psych ward shit. I think I'm low-key gonna get institutionalized into the fucking mental clinic with this bullshit. Okay, sorry, I can't stand this game anymore. And the only good thing about using this method is that it meant that we didn't get butt-fucked for 8 hours straight trying to use a typical vehicle in a real game. Instead, we all just got depression, so just be happy, I guess. Anyways, moving on, since I only have one more T1 trophy and it's just my gun, I decided to jump into the Hazard Zone stage of this game's platinum because it's the last real area of this game that has trophies and also the hardest by far. Hazard Zone is a new mode in Battlefield 2042 and it was their kind of big thing they tried to push and completely failed on doing because it f***ing sucks. But it's kind of like DMZ from Call of Duty a few years back, which also does suck. Yeah, but it's an extraction mode. Yeah, it's one of those. I don't know why people ever enjoyed this type of game or mode. It always comes off as a mode or a game where the company failed to create a battle royale, so they did this instead to write off expenses. But Hazard Zone has a plethora of maps, all just multiplayer ones, which is amazing. And you just get dropped in with your squad, and there's typically only about 20 people in the lobby. And then all you have to do is find data drives marked around the game, which literally serve no purpose besides being the goal we're after. However, there is a trophy from extracting with 50 total, by the way, but that's honestly very easy because you ultimately need to extract 25 times total and perfectly without anyone dying at all. And for those 25 extractions, it also does require you to be alive for every single extraction. And if you are completely eliminated spectating, it does not count despite the game still saying you won or mission accomplished. But I want to say a huge thanks to my friends for playing this mode when they could with me. Shout out to Dusty again, Goose, Asukini, Swerve, and Grumpy or Molar, which is his alter ego. I think he has schizophrenia or something. He was casting spells in our lobby low-key. If you know, you know. But yeah, I don't really have any advice in this mode aside from trying to win. If you solely want to extract, the method I found best is to be with a full group, obviously, and then get a car. It's best to have that recon vehicle. Then you just drive around and camp till about a minute before exfil and then be near it. At around 35 seconds, you want to be driving full speed at the back of the plane. Then you all just dump out of it. Someone smokes the ramp. I usually threw an incendiary grenade on it also. Then I use my shield with dozer to block any incoming attacks, and all the other people just help fend off anybody crawling inside. Now this works about 9 out of 10 times, and it only fails when you go up against sweaty little bitches who play this mode for fun, which is insanity. This is the worst Battlefield mode I've ever seen. I have no clue how someone could actually enjoy playing it. But the method fails when the enemy is smart enough to just spam incendiary grenades at either my shield or just the body of the plane. You know, due to 2042's amazing mechanics, sometimes an outside attack can damage the inside of the plane, which is just swell. But I ended up getting that 50 hard drive extraction trophy way before anything else, so here's that. Anyways, a bit later in the night, me and the boys went on quite a streak, I'm not gonna lie. Mostly because the good players were hopping off for the night, and all that remained in our lobbies was randoms and poor souls choosing to play this game instead of sleeping. I think we were on a 7 or 8 game winning streak, and then we did break it unfortunately, but I said, boys, we gotta end on a win. So we just played one more, got paired up with this random dude, and he was down to follow us around with our plan and method by complete sheep mentality. However, it did lead us to exfil for the first time today, or after 8 hours of this mode, without a single person dying all the way, and that clean exit trophy popped. Arguably the hardest trophy of the game, by the way. But then I got off for the night and woke up the next day to finish this platinum off. First getting some random trophies from driving 50 vehicles, traveling 1,000 meters with McKay's grappling hook, and repairing 1,000 damage on vehicles in one round. All just done in co-op or portal, by the way, if you're wondering. But then I did jump back into Hazard Zone and it sucked. I can't really explain why it sucked besides the game's function just being awful. For one, the AI in the mode are just annoying. They're kind of cracked and they know where you are more than real players do, so that's just dumb. They also constantly spawn in and in bigger teams in 4, so that just makes zero sense. But the whole exfil thing is also stupid as shit because when going against good players, they just counter the methods of exfilling you have, and you typically have to camp all game to get to the second extraction, which takes forever. I failed so many times trying to extract. It was seriously the most aggravating thing ever. The only reason I didn't put my controller straight through my desk is because I don't want to have to buy another one. We've had our fun in the past and we've moved on. We're grown up now. Oh yeah, and to make this even worse, I also did get more than 25 extractions, and in the game settings and stats, it literally said I did, but no trophy pops. So that's awesome. I also had about 50 plus wins, almost 60 by the time I got the 42 wins trophy in any game mode within the game. And I feel like if you make a trophy that literally says win in any game mode, it should actually fucking mean in any game mode, and not just whenever the trophy puppet masters feel like giving you the trophy, but that's just me.
No, you're
But on some of my final runs in Hazard Zone, I also did play in very low player lobbies because it died off later in the night, and I was in this match with some fucking sweat on my team who parked 2 cars underneath the exfil just for shit and giggles. And after I did get in, they killed me, so you, teammate. I seriously hope you eat shit and burn in hell, you flabbergasted hot dog rectal cream sniffing bastard lizard lover. You. So yeah, moving on. I ended up just getting the trophy finally after extracting again later on. No clue how many that was, but it was definitely more than 25, I'll fucking tell you that much. So I then jumped back into normal multiplayer to get the remaining kills I needed for T1 mastery and that win trophy, which again should have already popped, but hasn't since this game is hot ass. And while I was grinding the trophy for the gun though, I did end up finally getting that win trophy again. It took me about 60 wins to get this, which is almost almost 20 over, so W game. I can't even come up with new things to say my frustration, bro. I'm just empty now. Like, there's nothing left. I hate this so much. But almost 2 hours later, I got my remaining kills with the LMG. Shout out to the mode I was in that kept on going to overtime and wouldn't fucking end. I had like a 90 kill match almost before the trophy popped and I left abruptly. And also here's the platinum trophy pop added on after I was back in the menu. So that was the Battlefield 2042 platinum trophy experience. I don't think I've ever played such a horrible game in my life. That was legitimately the worst 50 hours of my life. I don't even think the 2 days after the love of my life dumped me was worse than this shit. I was honestly, on God, about to just quit making these videos for a second. I'm not even gonna lie, it was that bad. Rating the game out of 10, I'll give it a 0. I wouldn't make my worst fucking enemy play this shit. If somebody murdered my entire family, I wouldn't make them do this as punishment. It's safe to say I might not be excited for a new Battlefield. Just no. Let's just stop this already, please. EA, I beg you.